Hey guys, so we are going to continue from where we left off with the A380. We had to put the whole project on hold for like 2 months because we built the Horizon. So in this video, we're going to install all the servos, the doors, finish the landing gear, and most important, install the EDFs, finish the nacelles, and the dummy thrust reverser that I made. Now these two motors and nacelles were installed like 2 months ago before we started the Horizon. The fuselage was not primed yet, so you will see it in the past. But meanwhile, the guys took it to the paint shop, and so they finished all the body work on it, and they cut the windows and primed it. All right, we have a lot to do. Let's get to work. All right, here we are gluing the mounts for the EDFs. But here, if you look at this pylon, it is super thin. I used 1/2 inch or 13 millimeters plywood, reinforced with carbon both sides, but unfortunately it was too weak, so I had to reinforce it afterwards. The EDFs are 250 millimeters. We use these on the Global. They are great. They have a lot of power. Now the inlets and the cowlings or the nacelle body are going to be molded, as well as the thrust tubes. Now the inlet mold is 3D printed. I only made one mold and I could make 4 inlets out of it. They turned out really nice. The nacelle body, I made 2 molds, left and right. So we made 2 copies out of each, 2 for the left wing and 2 for the right wing. We only used 2 layers of carbon fiber on these. We reinforced the outer edges with a 3rd layer. The body will be glued on the intake, and we will add a bulkhead in the back. Now this thrust reverser that I made, the dummy one, only the inner motors have thrust reversers on the A380, so I had to make only 2. These are 3D printed. It was the quickest. Honestly, I should have machined these out of wood. They would have been a bit lighter, but 3D printed will work just fine. I used 4 of those linear bearings, and I installed 2 servos to make this whole mechanism work. So we started with the inner nacelle, and here we had to cut the nacelle in half where it will split for the thrust reverser. We glued the inlet. The inlet is only glued on the EDF mount. The EDF is just inserted in that inlet, so it can be taken out later for whatever. Then we glued the front half of the nacelle, then the thrust reverser, then comes the rear half of the nacelle with the small bulkhead in the back. This bulkhead is simply to reinforce it because it's open from the top, and of course to keep it in its original shape. Would you look at this? Forget the thrust reverser, just look how beautiful the carbon fiber is. Those nacelles are fantastic. Everything is molded, shiny. Still missing the pylon cover that goes on the bottom of the wing there. Now this is the dummy thrust reverser. It works, opens and closes. It turned out way better than I expected. I thought because it's a 3D printed, this contraption that I made, it was a bit wobbly when it was by itself, but when it became just one part of the nacelle, it became super solid. This here just a 3D printed mesh, just for scale. It's still a bit wobbly in here. I made this cut at an angle so it goes away from the skin, just in case. Anyways, I love this. We will work on thrust tubes, finish the other motor, and I don't know what's next. Maybe we start installing the servos. All right, I love that. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. PCBWay offers high-quality custom PCB prototyping service. They also offer CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, injection molding, and more. They made some custom parts for us in the past for the Horizon, and they turned out amazing. And so I thought I want to order something for the A380 as well. I need to install 2 LEDs on the nose strut, but I don't have mounts for them, and so I thought it would be best if we make them out of aluminum. It's actually super simple. Uploaded the file, chose the material I want, and placed the order. They also have other materials, not just aluminum. When these arrive, I'm going to install them with the rest of the lights on the A380. To learn more about their offers, go to PCBWay.com. Right, these doors were cut 2 months ago when we installed the landing gear. For the mains, I made molds out of these doors that I cut out because I simply cannot keep them that thick. I need all the space I can get for the wheels. So I used these cutouts as plugs to make the molds out of them. I had to add some filler on it, sand them smooth, and then I added vinyl on them because I don't want the epoxy to go on the foam. It will just stick, and so the vinyl will simply just cover the whole thing. And with that, I don't really have to sand them that smooth. The vinyl itself will give me a great surface. To make the doors, I started with a gel coat, then added 2 layers of carbon and a honeycomb. Of course, the honeycomb need to be vacuumed, so there's a layer of PCBWay and a breather. Then it goes in the vacuum bag until they are cured. So here I'm preparing the main rear door. As you can see, there is a secondary door that will fold on itself, and that's to allow the doors to close while the gear is in the down position. Now the inner door is also supposed to be closed while gear down, but unfortunately I won't be able to do that, and that's because I don't have enough room between the door and the wheels for this door to close. The main strut on the A380 extends hydraulically, I think. I don't know exactly how it works, but it extends to give some room for the doors to close, and then it retracts. On our model, we did not even think about that strut be able to extend and retract. So what I'm saying is we will never have room for the other door to close. But at least I could make the outer door closes, and the one inside, nobody's going to see it. Well, except everyone. But it's going to be fine. Alright, I am almost done with the doors and the whole landing gear. First of all, look at these tires. They are fantastic. We made these custom, the tires, but we could not find the tube that is wide enough, so there are 2 tubes in each one. Doors, I managed to make 1 door scale, and the other one is unfortunately not. The other one will stay open. This thing here is a tiny servo in here, and this will fold and close while gear down, and when the gear is up, this will open and the whole thing will close and the doors will be shut. And the sequencer of the whole landing gear is going to be Bane. These doors will have to be perfectly timed to close before these wheels go down. So I need to spend some time in here to program this whole thing. I don't know, I was just standing in here and looking at this crazy operation we're having right here. Just wanted to take a minute just to take it all in. Sometimes I'm just too busy at work. I somehow fail to realize how amazing and how crazy those planes we're building in here. And yeah, that makes me proud. Alright, we are ready to start installing the servos in the wings. I have 3 of these boxes. Each box will hold 2 servos, one for a flap and the other one for the spoilers. I have 3 of these boxes. One more here for the ailerons. We of course have massive ailerons, so we are going to be putting some good servos on the A380. And for that we got some amazing servos from Servo. They were kind enough to send us all the servos for the A380. Of course, for such airplane, we will need some crazy big servos. And we got them all here. We start with the smallest. This one here is 85 kilos of torque. These are going to go on some doors and ailerons. This is the 120, and it is 130 kilos of torque, which is crazy. Of course, these servos run on 12 volts, so there's a separate battery wire. And then we come to the biggest one we've ever used. This is the 180. This one here is 190 kilos of torque. It's a beast, but these are going to go on the stabilizers in the back. Rudder and elevators, and the control surfaces are massive in there. So we're gonna need all the torque. This whole setup made things really easy for us with this wooden box and these servos. This one here is gonna go the same way, but the bush rod is going to be external. Let me show you that on the stabilizer. That's the stabilizer. It's like a whole wing by itself. Anyways, these are the beasts. Are here, super clean. And this is just covering here with this servo arm. Here you can see how massive the elevator is. So we definitely need those badass servos for the stabilizers. All right, we finished all the servos. Of course, everything is internal. The flaps are great. The fairings as well, they are glued. They look great. These are not structural, these are 3D printed, so they're just simple covers, glued, and they work great. All right, so now we're gonna flip both wings, and after that I'm going to connect all the spoilers together, because I only have 3 servos for 9 spoilers, so I need to connect some of them together to be operated by one servo. I am so proud of this one. I love it. Look at this. There's the rudder. Super scale. It is split and it works so good. It is beautiful. 2 servos heading. Anyway, this was a lot of work, but I wanted to split it for 2 reasons. First one is scale. It is scale on the full scale A380. It is split in half. This one is like, I don't know, 60%, and this is like 40% of the total length. Second reason is the size of it. If I connect this whole thing to one servo, I don't know what kind of bush rod will handle all that. It's like a whole wing moving with one servo. And so I did this. Now it is much better. 2 servos on that. And also I'm gonna try to make this upper section of the rudder somehow disabled on certain speed. I don't know, 80 or over 90 miles per hour. It will not fully disable, maybe like go to, I don't know, 30%, so it doesn't fully move with the lower half of it. And of course that's, you know, at high speed, you know, if we hit hard rudder, this is so tall, it might add so much pressure on it could, you know, break it or something. So I'm gonna try to do that, and this will be controlled by the speed. Like the telemetry will have an input on that. The faster the plane flies, the less gain this servo will get. That one will still be at 100 or whichever, you know, throws we set it, but this one will, you know, be reduced based on the speed. And when we are, for example, landing, or when I'm at full flaps, for example, coming for landing, I can set this to go at 200%, you know, at lower speed and on landing, because I mean this plane is massive and we need all this rudder on landing. Anyways, the vertical stabilizer is completely finished, just needs to be mounted and connected, and it will be fully operational. I don't know where I'm ending this video, so I'm gonna just say all right, and then I don't know what comes next. So, all right. All right, look at this. We assembled this thing this morning, and honestly, we did not do much at all, because to be honest, we are a bit overwhelmed with the size of this thing. It is crazy. To be honest, I'm so happy with the results of this. I wish you guys can see it in person. The camera doesn't do it justice. We were just walking around it almost the whole day, just talking about what are we going to do next and how will we prepare this thing for its first flight. Flaps and spoilers are done and they look amazing. Let's start from here. These are massive ailerons. These can swing 30 degrees up and down, which is more than enough. The spoilers are great. 3 to 1 servo, and these 3 also to 1 servo. These 2, these are the biggest, are connected to 1 servo as well. I did the same thing on the 777 actually. It's just a carbon tube in here with a 3mm pin that allows them to spread apart but stay tight together. They work great. Stabilizers are also done. This is, by the way, is 10 feet high. It's crazy. And so the vertical stabilizers are amazing, so big. These are the biggest ones from Cha Servo. They're amazing. This is an M4 rod and there's a carbon sleeve on it. But yeah, these servos are going to be amazing. I mean, these stabilizers are so clean. I love that. And so everything is installed. Obviously, no wires yet, no ASCs, no receivers, nothing yet. That is going to be in the next video, because that alone will make a whole video. I'm so happy with everything. There are still some loose ends here and there. Landing gear, we still need to fine tune some things. All right, so that's it for this video. In the next one, I'm gonna install the lights, wire everything, install the electronics in the main board, and do all the trimming and the programming. It's going to be an interesting video, although it's my favorite part to do all this wiring and stuff. But I feel like when I start putting the wires in this plane, it's not going to be my favorite part anymore. We'll see about that. Stay tuned for the next video in a week or 2. And this means the main flight also will follow very, very soon. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.